Hi, I'm Chris Howard with the University of Maine Cooperative Extension. I'm here at Highmore Farm where I work. It's UMaine's Center for Research and Development for Fruits and Vegetables. I'm headed off the farm today on this beautiful winter day to go to the Maine Ag Trade Show to talk with Emily Dickinson about how she manages risks on her mushroom farm.
My name is Emily Dickinson. I am the co-founder and CEO of Mousam Valley Mushrooms, Farming Fungi LLC, and we have been in business since 2011. We produce over 300,000 pounds of mushrooms annually, and we grow, pack, and distribute to wholesale grocers and wholesale distributors like Whole Foods, Market Basket, Hannaford, US Foods, Cisco, Native Maine, even Crown of Maine, and also smaller co-ops and CSAs, and we have approximately 24 full-time employees, and we grow indoors year-round in Springvale, Maine, right off of the Mousam River, right in the valley. That's where we get our brand name Mousam Valley Mushrooms from. And we grow specialty organic mushrooms. So that's shiitake, lion's mane, oyster mushrooms like the king oyster and the Italian oyster. So they're grown indoors in these beautiful historic dairy barns that we've renovated to these mushroom growing facilities. And they require oxygen just like humans do as they respire CO2. And since we are organic certified, we don't actually use any pesticides. So the way that we are able to manage risk on our farm is by doing crop rotations within the farm facility. So we'll move out the oyster mushrooms into another room and move out the shiitakes and vice versa. And that allows us to be able to cycle the crop and really disrupt any sort of pest buildup. And then just, cleaning and having our water purified and softened is other ways that we manage risk. From time to time, there is a crop that may fail due to pests. A most recent crop failure of ours was we had our pest management company had a new employee come in and did not check all of the boxes for rodents. And so unfortunately, when the frost came, there were a few that came into one grow room in particular, the lion's mane, and they made a mess of the room. And so we had to throw out the entire room the next day when it was discovered. We reached out to our pest management company, and they came in right away and helped resolve and manage the pest issue. But unfortunately, we did lose our crop. So we do have cross-agency insurance, and they have a $5,000 deductible. So we, at that time, made the decision that the entire crop wasn't worth that value to be able to put in a request for compensation and to claim a credit. So that did stop us from being able to utilize it. We just had to basically eat the costs of it and start fresh, because nobody wants to have rodents infested mushrooms. That's not the whole reason we grow indoors, is to avoid pests, so we don't have any sort of insects. We've had our crop insurance from the beginning, so we've been in business for 15 years now. We have utilized the cross insurance once. We did have a failure in power outages. I don't know if you remember, but in 2023, 2024, there were significant power outages, and so we were out of power for over 3 days, and so our entire shiitake line, which is primarily 75% of our business, both shiitake rooms failed, and so we did make a claim at that point because that was a considerable amount of money. And so we were able to claim on that, and that did help us, but it did increase our deductible the next year. And then there are several USDA disaster relief programs happening right now. There is one for drought relief, so we are applying for that. because it did disrupt our working capital. Even though we are an indoor facility, we do have wells that we utilize. So we are only working off of one well right now, which has also caused delays in crop growth. So mushrooms are primarily 90% water. So even again, growing indoors, it's a significant amount of water utilized in the production. So we are seeking the disaster relief when it does become available, which I think is like mid 2026 is when it's going to be announced on how to utilize it.
Yeah.
And then there's also an SBA disaster relief program, which is a loan program. And I just found out that we qualify for $50,000 for that loan. But again, it is a loan.
Right.
So it's, I'm still figuring out what the process is. They haven't disclosed the terms yet. So we're midway with that, but that could potentially help us out as well. So we are GAP certified, so that's good agricultural practices through the state, and that is we have a food safety plan that they review annually and we update annually. We do a lot traceability audit. We also do a recall audit to make sure that we have a plan in place with the right phone numbers to call if somebody is, God forbid, gets sick from our product. But there are multiple measures in place before that occurs. We have quality assurance training with our teams, both on the production side as well as the packing and the distribution aspects of the business. So if there were ever a recall, we would destroy the product. We would contact whoever got access to that product, and then we would take the steps back to trace where the contamination occurred and resolve that before we move forward with additional production.
Now, all of that seems really overwhelming probably to someone who's just starting a farm.
Yes.
How did you figure out how to create all of that?
Through other farmers, reaching out to other farmers who offered consulting. Jordan's Farm helped us create our GAP certification and food safety plan. There's a lot of programs throughout the state as well that could help. And then we also have our Maine Organic Farmers and Associations MOFGA organic certificate. So utilizing the different aspects that are required of both of those plans. So we kind of get like a 2-for-1 deal. Like you need that information anyway. You need a food safety plan to become organic certified. So I feel like the GAP was like our gateway to being able to expand into an additional certification. So it is a lot of work up front, but annually overall it's the same work. There's very minimal updates required, so it's definitely beneficial. It keeps us safe and it keeps our customers safe. So anything that I'm going to produce and sell, I want my family to be able to eat safely as well. Especially with mushrooms, I feel like there's a huge connotation around mushrooms, thinking that they're scary or dangerous. So we want to do our due diligence in making sure the mushroom strains that we utilize are the same and consistent over and over again, and are as safe as possible for human consumption, and are nutritionally beneficial.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it sounds like you've spent a lot of the past 15 years building up your network of people who can help you figure out some of these things for your farm.
Yes, and now I can offer consulting too. So I'm working with New Hampshire Mushroom Farm to help them get organic certified and GAP certified. I'm working with Spillers Farm. I just put in a grant request through the HFFI Fair Fund, and I am going to be part of that grant award is going to be utilized to help expand and to create a GAP certification for Spillers Farm, and then that will allow me, Mousam Valley Mushrooms, we have our larger parent company, Farming Fungi LLC, we have our own logistics. So now I can start moving Spillers produce along with our produce to the wholesale grocers and the wholesale distributors that they didn't have access to before. So it's a great networking opportunity. And if there are any other young farmers or older farmers who are looking into becoming GAP certified, again, my name's Emily Dickinson. I work at Mousam Valley Mushrooms. I have 15 years of experience in working with GAP, so I'm more than willing to help anybody who is in need of it, and also help find the funding to get it approved, because having safe food is, freedom. So I'm willing to help any way I can. So I would recommend any new starting farmers to go to their farm service agency, their local agency, and check out what is already available to them for free for just being a farm and becoming registered with the farm service agency. That's the first step. You may not even need to have an additional crop insurance like we have to have, because we're not registered with the farm service agency. So you may already have crop insurance or access to crop insurance and not even know it. So again, working with the USDA, working with the Department of Ag, these people their literal jobs are here to help farmers just like us, be safe and to have the insurance that we need to continue growing the food for everybody.
University of Maine Cooperative Extension is an equal opportunity institution and provider committed to non-discrimination. For more information, visit extension.umaine.edu/non-discrimination.